In February 2022, 100 million people watching the Super Bowl saw a commercial in which Larry David is shown history's greatest inventions: the wheel, the light bulb, the moon landing, and dismisses every single one. The punchline was crypto. The sponsor was an exchange called FTX. The tagline, "Don't miss out." That month, FTX was worth $32 billion. Its founder was 30 years old, worth $26 billion on paper, and being compared, in print by serious people, to J.P. Morgan and Warren Buffett. Inside the company, there was a spreadsheet. Very few people had seen it, because anyone who saw it would understand, within about a minute, that the $32 billion exchange was hollow. In November, someone leaked it. What happened next took 8 days. Not 8 months, 8 days. This is the story of FTX, the golden boy of crypto, the balance sheet that ended him, and the fastest destruction of a fortune in modern financial history. Sam Bankman-Fried did not look like a fraud. That sentence is doing a lot of work in this story, so let's be precise. He was built almost feature by feature to look like the opposite of one: a physics degree from MIT, both parents professors at Stanford Law, a first job at Jane Street, one of the most elite trading firms on earth, which he said he took for a reason that disarmed everyone who heard it: to give the money away. He was the poster child of a movement called effective altruism: earn billions, donate billions. Greed, laundered into philanthropy. In 2017, he left to start a trading firm, Alameda Research, and made his first fortune on a beautifully simple trade. Bitcoin sold for more in Japan than in America, and he built the pipeline to buy it here and sell it there. In 2019, he launched his own exchange, FTX. It was fast, clean, and clever, and it grew like a fire. By January 2022, FTX was valued at $32 billion, and the halo around it had become self-sustaining. Sequoia Capital, the firm that backed Apple and Google, put in over $200 million and published a glowing profile that included a detail its authors found charming. During the pitch meeting, Bankman-Fried had been playing a video game. Tom Brady took equity. Steph Curry took equity. The Miami Heat played in FTX Arena. Umpires at Major League Baseball games wore the FTX logo on their chests. He testified before Congress about how to regulate crypto. Lawmakers treated him as the industry's one adult. He did it all in cargo shorts and a t-shirt, hair uncombed, and the costume worked for him. A man hiding nothing doesn't bother to dress up. The world had run a character check instead of an audit. Nobody had run the audit. To understand what was actually happening inside FTX, you need to hold two companies in your head. FTX was the exchange, the casino floor. Customers wired in their money and traded. Alameda Research was a trading firm, a gambler at the tables. Both of them belonged to the same man. Every exchange in history has had one sacred rule: the house guards the deposits, it does not play with them. FTX's code said otherwise, and we know that because the man who wrote the code said so, under oath. Per the sworn testimony of co-founder Gary Wang, Alameda's account on FTX carried a hidden exemption, a flag in the software, allow negative, and an effectively unlimited line of credit. Where an ordinary customer who ran out of money got liquidated, Alameda could keep drawing billions. And what it was drawing, per that same testimony, was the only pool of money on the platform: the customers' deposits. Out the back it went, per prosecutors in the bankruptcy record. Hundreds of venture bets. A $30 million penthouse in the Bahamas, where the founder lived with his inner circle. Roughly $100 million in political donations. Stadium deals and Super Bowl airtime. The halo itself financed out of the vault it was protecting. And here is the accounting trick that held it all together. FTX had invented its own token, FTT. It printed FTT for free, kept most of it, and counted it as wealth at the market price. Alameda's books were stuffed with it, which means the empire's collateral was a promise the empire had written to itself. The customer's money was gone, and the thing standing in its place, the thing making the balance sheet balance, was house-printed paper. As long as nobody looked, the machine ran. It ran for years. Then on the 2nd of November, 2022, a crypto news site called CoinDesk published one document. Before the clock starts, one detail worth sitting with. In the last 3 days of FTX, customers tried to pull $6 billion off the platform. The first ones got out, then the gate slammed, and everyone still inside waited 2.5 years to be repaid in dollars at 2022 prices for coins that had since multiplied in value. That's what an exchange account is. A promise and a gate someone else controls. A hardware wallet is the version with no gate. Your keys, offline, in your hand. If you own crypto, the link's in the description. Day 1, November 2nd. CoinDesk publishes a leaked copy of Alameda's balance sheet. $14 billion of assets. And the reporters flagged the strangest thing about it. The single biggest line isn't Bitcoin, isn't dollars. It's FTT. The exchange's own token, billions of it, propping up the founder's own trading firm. The document goes around the industry like a virus, because everyone can now do the same arithmetic. If that number is paper, what's real? Day 5. Changpeng Zhao, CZ, the head of Binance, FTX's biggest rival, and, awkwardly, an early investor holding a mountain of FTT, announces it publicly. Binance, he says, has decided to liquidate any remaining FTT on its books. One tweet: Binance is dumping its FTT. The prop under Alameda's balance sheet is now for sale, and the whole market knows it. The run begins within hours. Day 6. The founder goes online to stop the bleeding and posts the sentence that will follow him into the courtroom. FTX is fine. Assets are fine. It was not fine. At the moment those words went out, per the trial record, the whole was roughly $8 billion. Day 7. In 72 hours, customers have demanded $6 billion back. An exchange that actually held its deposits would simply pay. FTX pays, and pays slower, and then stops. The gate comes down. Everything still inside is trapped. And that afternoon comes the twist nobody saw coming. CZ announces Binance intends to buy FTX, the arsonist offering to buy the building. For a few hours, the story looks over. Day 8. Binance's accountants get one look at the inside of FTX, the first real look anyone outside has ever taken, and walk away in less than a day. The problems, Binance says, are beyond its ability to help. There is no rescue. There was never going to be a rescue because the money isn't misplaced, it's spent. On November 11, 9 days after one article, Sam Bankman-Fried signs FTX into Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Around 130 companies, folding in a single filing. He resigns the same morning. And that night, as if the story needed a final insult, more than $400 million drains out of the debt exchange's wallets. Not the founder, a SIM-swapping crew, convicted years later, robbing the corpse while the world watched the obituary. The man brought in to clean up was John J. Ray III, the lawyer who had unwound Enron. He had spent 40 years walking into the smoking ruins of failed companies. 6 days into FTX, he put a sentence into a court filing that instantly became the epitaph. Never in his career, he wrote, had he seen such a complete failure of corporate controls and such a complete absence of trustworthy financial information. Worse than Enron. That was the expert opinion. On December 12, 2022, Bahamian police arrested Bankman-Fried at the Albany, the resort where the penthouse was, and the United States asked for him by name. The trial in the fall of 2023 was short on mystery. The government didn't need to reconstruct the machine from the outside. It brought the people who had built it. Gary Wang, who wrote The Back Door. Caroline Ellison, who ran Alameda, and testified that she, at his direction, had drawn the customer money and dressed the books. The inner circle, one by one, pointing at the same man. On November 2, 2023, the jury convicted him on all 7 counts. Look at the date. 1 year to the day after the balance sheet leaked. The fraud took 4 years to build. Exposing it, collapsing it, and convicting the man who ran it took exactly 12 months. In March 2024, he was sentenced to 25 years in federal prison and ordered to forfeit $11 billion. The cooperators were treated as cooperators. Ellison, 2 years. Wang, no prison at all. And this June 2026, the appeals court closed the last door and upheld everything. The conviction, the 25 years, the forfeiture. The main driver, as the government put it, of one of the largest frauds on record. Earliest release, 2044. And the customers, here the story grows one final set of teeth. The estate clawed back billions. The venture bets, it turned out, included stakes that had exploded in value, and began repaying claims in 2025. On paper, many creditors got 100 cents on the dollar and more, but read the fine print. They were repaid in dollars at the prices of November 2022, the bottom of the market. If you had a Bitcoin on FTX the day the gate closed, you got back $17,000 for a coin that has traded at many times that since. The gate didn't just hold their money for 2.5 years. It held their money at the worst possible moment and returned the moment instead of the money. The spreadsheet was never complicated. 14 billion in assets, and the biggest line was paper the house had printed for itself. Thousands of people saw the halo. It took one person leaking one document and 8 days for everyone finally to run the audit. Here's the question I keep coming back to. Sequoia saw the video game and invested anyway. Congress saw the shorts and the hair and asked him to write the rules. If everyone around you vouches for the man, do you still ask to see the books? Be honest. Would you have? Tell me below. And if this episode has one practical takeaway, it's the gate. $6 billion tried to leave FTX in 3 days, and only the fastest made it. Your own keys offline, in your hand. The hardware wallet link is in the description. Next week, 6 months before FTX fell, the first domino, a stablecoin that was mathematically incapable of crashing, $40 billion, and the 72 hours that erased it, and a founder who, when the questions came, got on a plane. Terra, Luna, Do Kwon. Subscribe so you don't miss it.